Hello, it's Claire. I'm just really doing a recap of day one of the De-Stress You challenge. I did feel like I wanted to do it, and I really wanted to sort of check in on anyone that had done it before if they wanted to attend. I don't know if we're going to get anyone because I've had an incredibly busy day and only just set this meeting up, so apologies if it's a bit late. But I was going to talk about what is stress. And I'd already put some information in the group, so for this little challenge, to talk about what is it, how it makes us feel, some methods to help, such as dragon breath, and there is an autumn meditation. Both of those I think I've shared, certainly the autumn meditation, and I'll go over the dragon breath again in a short while. And I did actually share a bit of a presentation, which was quite quick, but that was a sort of summary of this section as well. And De-Stress You is a program that I've created. I kind of thought about this. Times have moved on since the COVID times, and I did it in the COVID times actually. And maybe people are feeling a little bit they haven't got time or they're catching up, but it's still useful, so I was going to do it anyway. So just to talk a bit about why I've done it in the first place is that things felt very, very strange during those times, 2019, 2020. And I felt like I got a strong feeling to help people with stress. I've been through quite a lot of stress myself in my life. And I looked at the videos that I'd recorded, including these ones at the end of the day. And a few little things have changed, but not that much really. My life hasn't changed massively since I did the last 3-day challenge in 2023. So it's interesting if anyone has done it and then does it again to see how things have changed. I've got something going on, a couple of things a bit personal. One is a client really and a friend. And the other is, kind of family link issue, but it's being sorted out and dealt with, and that's kind of come at the same time. So it's a little bit challenging. So I'm talking about, today, what is it? What is stress? How it makes us feel? Methods to help us, like including the dragon breath and the meditation. And what are the feelings that people feel? I did share some of that in the presentation. You may feel stress, that feeling of when you're thinking, oh, something else to do, or something else to deal with. People feel lonely at times, and I've picked up that there are a lot of lonely people, and I want to continue, if I can, doing something to just connect with people, be it online. I also do quite a lot of interest where I'm connecting personally with people, but just to help other people that may not be able to do those things. People feel tension as well. There could be family issues. There's loads of those sorts of pressures going on because what's happened, I noticed since 2023 that the bills are going up and up and up. And especially with April just gone, I felt that pinch big time. And, things have not changed since 2023. In fact, if anything, I think there's more tension. And also I mentioned some wars going on, the same damn wars, Middle East things and the Ukraine. I know that some things are being discussed now to look at maybe both things, but issues, but, it all sort of doesn't help. And you've got relationship stresses as well. And you might have health issues. I'm certainly aware of some of those things affecting people kind of my age and above, often, or even mid-50s and above, illnesses and things that might linger and go on and on. So those are just a few of the things. I think I mentioned in the presentation as well, the key ones as well, like moving house, very, very tense. I've done that several times, clearing stuff out, weddings, preparing for a wedding, funerals, obviously, with all the bereavement itself, and so on. So I am going over what I went over before, but I've sort of maybe added a couple of other things in. I think what I'll do this time is do the positive affirmations, which I didn't include last time, and I'll probably do it tomorrow. So what are the physical symptoms? Things like you can't breathe, I had that one when I started an early job, my first proper job. I was so inundated with stuff going on and clients coming in at me at all angles that I wasn't used to it, and I struggled with that, and I started to hyperventilate. And I can remember it's a very serious thing when that happens. You're sort of gulping for breath. Sometimes people get problems with their skin. They might have, skin issues, skin diseases, itchy palms, that type of thing, sweating palms, sleep issues, really horrible. I've had a lot of that myself. Palpitations, I've had all of these things really. Fatigue, so it's kind of a feeling of, another thing to deal with, another thing. And that's like layers, multi-layers, I think. And you sometimes need broad shoulders, but sometimes our shoulders are just not that broad. And, we've dealt with so many things. We just think, yet another thing. Tummy issues. So sometimes people are processing things and it goes through the tummy, really, as far as I can tell. And it can cause like real nausea. It can cause, indigestion, that type of thing. People being dizzy, blood pressure going up, weight loss or gain, and feminine issue might be period changes if someone's under a lot of pressure. Those are just a few of the things, because it's so, it can be so insidious as well that it creeps on and on and on. And things like blood pressure, I've had an issue with that. So that as you get older, that increases, and if you don't monitor it or get checked, you have to get that checked regularly, I'd say in your 50s, and I came unstuck a bit. So I'm trying to work on that myself. But that's something which is really hard because people don't see the effects of it. So that's an important one. So I said about causes, actually. I've said that a bit early, but things like moving house, death, sorting out a death estate, marriage, and new jobs, being new boy or new girl, extra responsibilities as you get older with elderly parents, and so on. I think someone, I don't know if anyone's viewing, but there might be. Oh, hi, I can see someone. Extra responsibilities. I'm just going through what I shared earlier, really. It's just a wash-up session. And people like when someone's pregnant, having a baby, getting all the preparations ready, especially with the first one, you don't know what you're dealing with. Having twins, having triplets, exams, dealing with teenagers, having exams, 16 plus SATs, if they still have them, GCSEs, what we used to call O-levels, A-levels, huge amount of work to do. Discrimination, which happens, unfortunately, quite a lot. Bullying in school or in work, I'm afraid, it goes on. Teasing, which I explained in more depth last time, but it can be like a sort of constant repetition of teasing in groups and things can be like bullying. Eventually, as I say, like the levels go on and on and on. That can feel like bullying. And the other one I added last time was social media overwhelm, and it's just got worse, not better in any way, shape or form. And as we can tell from recent unfortunate headlines, that it is really impacting young people and really, really becoming a serious issue. I think people are trying to deal with that, trying to get kids off the phones and limit the age limit, so that it has to be higher for them to get access to the smartphones, if you like, with all the access to all the social medias. Keeping up with the Joneses type feeling with that as well as this constant pressure, and sorting out the wheat from the chaff, and deciding, like, I've got 2 email addresses and it does get on my nerves a bit because I have to go from one to the other. It's just the way it formulated, and I'm struggling to change it a little bit now. Not good with change. Obviously, I already mentioned wars and the bad news. And some of that bad news is just piled on day in, day out. And if you're watching it morning, sometimes lunch and sometimes evening, or both, or one or two, it can really, sort of mount up in your mind. And you've got, like, those wars I mentioned, Middle East and Ukraine particularly, we're aware of here. I mean, there's other ones going on all over the place, but those are two of the big ones. And seeing those things that you cannot change, that is another real stressor, I think, on many people, because we can watch and we can pray and we can, you know, make our opinions felt, but at the end of the day, it's people in power that make the decisions. So what have we got to help? So I mentioned this in the information earlier. I do have guided meditations in my program, and if someone wasn't used to doing those, then they are welcome to try the 2 or 3 that I've got. I think we have an autumn one, I think we have a spring one, I think we have a chakra one, and I think I share the chakra one in this 3 days. And I noticed that even though there's no one on here tonight, in my videos last time, 2 years ago, there wasn't many people, but then sometimes people turned up later after the first day, or they watch it on Rewind, whatever it is, you know, so that's really good. Also, we use essential oils, and in the program I talk about 12 specific ones. They're really relaxing and calming, and they have different properties per oil. Breath work, one of which I'll do in a moment, and that can be very calming as well. Now, when I've taken my blood pressure, because I have a monitor now, I notice if I take 3 or 4 really deep breaths in and out through the nose, my blood pressure can come down. It can go from one category to another. So it shows you it absolutely does work. And when you combine it with something like yoga or Pilates or something like that, it's incredibly good. And meditation as well. We use mini altars in one of our little sessions as well in the actual program, and those can kind of lift the vibration of the people that are using them, and in the house that they're in as well, I believe. I've actually done an experiment where I set up 4 mini altars, and I mean, so something including the elements, so earth, water, air, fire, something representing those. And as I built each altar, I could feel personally, and I'm very sensitive to energy, I could feel the energy rising. So even though some people aren't aware of that, it is there, and it does help people. And it's got a kind of calming effect as well. The use of crystals, which are amazing, have amazing properties. And I'm using an amethyst on my 3rd eye at the moment. And when I meditate, it's just really bringing in relaxation. It brings in some useful information to me personally. Whether that works for everyone, I don't know. But that they are rather amazing, especially if you have them in the room with you. And also the message cards, which I've got, which are like oracle cards. I use them, and I tend to use them daily, and I use tarot quite often, nearly every day. And they are just little, it feels to me like I've got a friend that's going to help me. That's what it feels like. It's like got little symbols, it's got little pointers. And okay, everyone doesn't believe, but if you do start to believe, you start, I think, to work with it, and it works with you. That's how it works. So those are some of the slightly woo-woo things maybe I've mentioned, but also you've got very practical, earthy, grounded things like a to-do list. And I often have used a to-do list before Monday, so at the weekend, and then really give it some thought and think through your week, look at your diary, and then start to perhaps, and I don't do this and I should, but have a little chart where you've got a daily essential thing to do and 1 or 2 other little tasks perhaps. Or you could do it like I tend to do it daily. Generally I do it the morning of, but sometimes I have, and especially on a Sunday night, I'll look and see, well, what's coming up. So that really helps because it's kind of containing, I am quite a bit of a dizzy, you can probably tell, slightly, you know, not always practical, a bit ungrounded at times. So to have something that pulls me back in is really, really helpful, and it might help other people as well. We've got also the ability to have breaks off our devices, like our phones, which can be very relaxing if you have a day or 2 away from it, or longer, even better, and off social media, say, I don't know, a week off Facebook or a week off Instagram or whatever it is. And you've also got like mental meditation as well, exercising, which may be out in nature. I always call that a form of mental meditation because going into the woods, which I did at the weekend, or the downs, is just so, and surrounded by green, the colour green is so relaxing. and it's very calming. They are sounding quite obvious, but many people don't. We just kind of lose connection with these things, and I think it's great to remind people, perhaps remind myself. Also, you've got to help with sleep, perhaps things like Batch Flower. You can buy Night Rescue Remedy or Night Remedy, which is Batch flowers, and if you didn't know, are made from flowers actually. They're essences which are mixed with water, and they're dried. The actual flowers are dried in the sun, and the sun has healing properties as well. And each herb or flower used is meant to have definite healing properties, and it's from ancient wisdom. But someone called Dr. Bach put them together, and there are many other different ones. There's Australian bush remedies, I think. You've also got lavender. I use lavender spray nearly every night now on my pillow. Helps a bit. And lavender itself, oil, and putting oils and lavender and other ones which are nice, like rose, even patchouli I love actually, in an oil burner, which we use, and I use in the program. So we've got dragon breath as well, breath exercises, and I've got a whole little module just for breath, which would be really something good for people to do. It's breath and meditation together. But what we're going to do now is practice, as I did before, something called dragon breath. And so my teacher Priya from yoga has showed this, and I thought I'd share it, and she helps a lot of people with it. So let's give it a try. So I'm going to count. So what we do is hold one nostril, breathe in on the right. I'm going to hold the left, breathe in on the right for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Hold your breath for 3 seconds with both, like your finger here and your thumb there. 1, 2, 3. Breathe out for 3 seconds on the right. And then, I think I've got that right. Breathe in on the left for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Hold breath 3 seconds and breathe out on the right. And I think I've got it slightly muddled actually. I'm going to do it again. So you hold the left nostril and breathe in on the right for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Hold your breath for 3 seconds. Breathe out for 3 seconds on the right. And breathe in on the left for 3 seconds. Hold your breath for 3 seconds and breathe out on the right. And do it 3 times and then 4 times. So increase it to 4 seconds holding the breath. I'm going to do it again. So hold the left nostril. Breathe out on the left. Breathe out in on the left. Breathe for 3 seconds. Hold, sorry. Then breathe out on the right. Actually alternate it. That's what I'm doing wrong. Do it 3 times and then you increase it. So for 4 seconds for the hold. I really didn't do the demo very well at all. I am sorry. I had quite a hard day today. I think what I'll do is share the other, if I can find it, the other video, and it shows you really well there. So I looked at as well, and I'd love people to share it if they can, their main stresses. So the main stresses that you have, if you think about that, what are the triggers, and mark them out of 10. So where 10 is high and 1 is low, and then maybe pick your top 3 and work on 2 or 3 a week. And you can sort of go down the list and start with week 1, week 2, week 3. And when I looked at this, I'd got 3 last time, but I've got a few more I've added to it, but they are roughly the same. Maybe I've got more detail. But what I looked at, for example, was dog care and walking that and fitting that in with administration and work. Secondly, paying bills and the cash flow. Now that's come up for me. So that shows you how tight things are getting, really, because it wasn't as high up as on my priorities before. But I'm finding it's getting harder and harder balancing things. And towards the end of the month, I have to say, you know, there's not that much money left at all. And I'm sometimes borrowing off my savings and then paying it back. That's quite personal, but I dare say many people are in the same position. So that's number 2. Number 3, so that's like the thing to do there, is manage it, especially at the end of the month, and start getting wiser. And with the dog care, I'd be doing things like really trying to program it into my day better, get it into a routine, and make sure that I'm fitting my work around it so that it doesn't really, it sort of becomes quite a big thing for me. It's a bit frustrating because, you know, I'm doing that on my own. And then I'm, as I say, like sometimes I'm disorganized. My table is just the same as it was 2 years ago, with tons of stuff on it. But certainly I'm going to have a go at tidying that really quite soon. I do it maybe once every month. But probably doing it weekly would be good. Emails, got way too many, but I need to still get on task with it and try to do them in the evening when I've got spare time and sat down, not dog walking, and doing the actual bits and pieces I have to do, or sometimes in the morning, because the dog does have a lie-in quite often. So, and I've got too much clutter, especially in my garage, so I have got to deal with that, and I'm gonna crack on with that actually this month or May, so that's a definite. So yeah, I've put here, how do I deal with it? So this is the sort of thing that would be good to do, even if watching this, I often watch people's videos like when I'm making dinner because I haven't got much time, but even if it inspired you to do that, it would be good, and I'd love to get feedback. So with the dog, like 2 or 3 walks a day, different walks, and book holiday care for the dog ahead, which generally I'm doing. But what I'm trying to do is find a dog walker which I can share the care with a little bit. That would be good. Bills, try to weekly check my bank balance and look at the DDs, direct debits, and any that are coming at me out of nowhere, like the dog bills, which I had a big operation for. Well, it was a smaller one, but it was still quite a lot to deal with. Dental bills, car bills, things you can't predict. And, you know, just try and monitor it. I have got an administration sheet which I need to fill in and redo it, because if you do it every year, I do my accounts, but somehow it gets subsumed into the kind of business side. So I need to look at my own personal stuff a bit better and really check the diary regards like being scatty and being disorganized, just really double down on the diary. So that's a little list of some of these stressors, what we can do about them. Obviously things like work. I used to have, at one point, I had a file of fax, but if you have something where you'll be doing it on your phone or your computer now, is good, I'm sure. I don't use those, I must admit, but I just use my old-fashioned bits of paper on my diary. But most people would be able to find that. I do have a notes thing on my phone, and I found it, and my iPad. It's really, really helpful. So that would be good. You've got so many other things that I listed. But as I say, if you don't think of them all at once, and if you break them into those 2 or 3 things, or maybe two a week to really home in on, and then you've sorted it in your mind and you've sorted it on paper or whatever, and you start to build up systems. The systems are really helpful, as they are in work. It's almost like we don't have systems at home, but they can be really helpful. So what else are we doing? Day 2 is about chakras and our health, and I ran through that today, and I'll just run through the 7 main chakras and a little bit about what type of things connect with the chakras regards health, and a little bit with stress. I'd say it's more like health related, really. And I might try to do the chakra meditation tomorrow, but what I'll do is share that information again in this group, and hope people will start to see it and use it. That would be really amazing. As I say, if people do the work, even if you're doing it a little bit late and you get all 3 days done, then I'll have a little prize for the person who works the hardest, or does, you know, really prove themselves on it. So that's what I was going to do. Let's see what happens. And day 3, we're still going to talk about using intuition to help. And I went through my video from last time. I'm going to go through some of the major ways I use tools and intuition, which, you know, those tools generally can really help with intuition and positive vibrations for us as well. So what I do in the program is kind of wrap it all together. And if someone is interested in doing it, then I also have a little training course to teach people to be trainers. So then they can pass that through to their family, to their friends, and so on, and relatives. So there you have it. I think I better finish now. And I'll see you tomorrow. And don't forget to have a look for the task in this group. I'll post it at, I think, 6 a.m. tomorrow. Okay, thank you. Have a good evening. Bye.